Hey gang, I love Led Zeppelin and Jimmy Page probably had more influence on me than any other guitar player. But what was his best solo and how did he play it? Coming right up. Led Zeppelin, yeah, no doubt one of my favorite groups. John, Paul, Jones, Bonham, Plant, and of course Page. All awesome. And if we're talking about best albums, Led Zeppelin 2, no doubt for me. Yeah, I know, Led Zeppelin 4 is awesome, but we can debate that another time. What I'm asking you today is, what's Jimmy's best solo? That's a tough one because he had such a broad musical style, ranging from English folk to blues to rock to the beginnings of heavy metal. He had many facets to his musical personality. So let's have a look, okay? How about this one for starters? Some fiery and aggressive stuff for when it was recorded back in 1968. I don't know anybody who played like Page did back then. It's an amazing lick, an amazing solo, but it's not my pick. Another possibility is something from Led Zeppelin 2. So many choices on that album, but the one that I would go for is the one that has a combination of chops, tone, taste, and just fitting perfectly into the music. What about this one? Not the most difficult of Page's solos, and it's pretty short, but the way that it fits in with the rest of the band, especially Bonham, is just awesome, and those huge bends at the end of the solo are just out of this world. But that's not my pick either. Of course, perhaps the most obvious choice is this one. Truly an epic solo, no doubt about it. But even though there are great arguments for this one, including all the themes, the length, the impact on other guitarists, and so forth, that's not my choice either. My pick for Jimmy's best ever is from Led Zeppelin 3. It's a slow C minor blues that's truly breathtaking. In just 12 bars, it runs the gamut of emotions from anger to joy to sadness to longing and despair. It's Since I've Been Loving You. Here's my approximation to Jimmy's masterpiece. What an amazing solo. In just 12 bars, he packed it all in. So how did he do it? Here's my breakdown into 6 elements. Number 1, structure. The framework Jimmy used for the solo is an extended C minor pentatonic shown here. This is all standard, but Jimmy still was able to make it unique. Starting with the basics really does work. What's more, it's really guitar friendly, so your fingers just kind of fall into place, and that's really important for element number 6, which I'm going to talk about a bit later. Number 2, dynamics. Throughout the whole song, Page is using the dynamic of loud and soft. However, more than that, what's often overlooked is his manic use of fast and slow as a dynamic. Let's take a look. For example, right out of the gate, we have this crazy fast lick. but it ends up right in the pocket when we hit the 2 chord. The beginning part that's really kind of haphazard in time especially is a lot of what gives this song its goodness. Number 3, themes. Every great solo has musical themes. Usually 1 or 2 are sufficient because they allow the listener to connect the solo and see it as a whole. Here are a few themes which run through this solo. The first is a Chuck Berry sort of bluesy idea. That runs throughout the whole solo in various forms. The second is what I'll call the longing bend. That happens a lot in the middle of the solo and a lot at the end. And a third idea is to double or triple up on notes like this. He does that quite a bit as well. And all of those things go together to make the solo feel whole. Number 4, arpeggios and modal play. Jimmy didn't just use the minor pentatonic. He also heightened the emotion by using modal notes and arpeggios, especially on a chord change to the 4 or 5 chord. For example, the first time we go to the F minor chord, the 2 chord, he uses an F minor arpeggio idea, coming from this F minor 7 arpeggio. And it uses the G sharp in that arpeggio instead of the G that's in the C minor pentatonic. Likewise, when we go to the G minor, it uses the same sort of arpeggio idea in G minor. And here's an example where he plays modally in the solo. The second time we come to the F minor chord, we've got... Now that sequence of notes uses some notes, again, that are not in the minor pentatonic, and it's really just using the C minor scale, or in F that would be F Dorian. Number 5, ideas from the blues masters. As is the usual case, Jimmy pays homage to his blues mentors by doing his own versions of their licks. For example, perhaps the most obvious example is the tip of the hat to Albert King in the 2-step bend sequence. Ending in the Albert King lick itself. Number 6, cramming. Another technique that blues masters like Buddy Guy and Stevie Ray use is cramming, putting in a flurry of notes into a phrase. Jimmy takes this to a whole other level by extending it over multiple lines. Now to me, this is what really distinguishes his solo, giving it a feeling of reckless abandon. Here's an example. Take this line, for example, which I'm just going to make up on the spot. It doesn't really matter the timing. I'm just playing it pretty fast and kind of haphazard. But I've got to know when to stop and come back onto the chord to be back into the pocket. And Jimmy's doing that throughout the whole thing, and it gives it this haphazard feel. I think that's what really makes it sound good. Jimmy used this in both earlier and later solos like Heartbreaker and Fool in the Rain. And it's that haphazard quality that really gives the melody a lot of freedom. To me, that's the real star quality of Jimmy Page at his best. So what's your favorite Jimmy Page solo and why? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you love Jimmy Page, check out this video because I go into detail on one of his speed licks and show you a simple picking pattern that makes it and all the licks like it really, really easy. So check out that video, click on it, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you on down the road.